There's no bugs on it. There's no maggots. That is freaking crazy.
It starts with something simple, a burger bun. Software familiar, the kind you've held 100 times, passed to your grandkids in the back seat, unwrapped quietly on a break room bench. But in 2025, that bun may be hiding more than pickles and ketchup. It may be hiding mold, banned chemicals, and the quiet erosion of your trust. In newly leaked inspection reports from April and May, the American Food Sanitation Bureau flagged over 20 major fast food locations across the U.S. for mishandling bread, storing it in high-heat back rooms, beside cleaning fluids, even reusing expired buns by scraping mold and reheating. Hidden camera footage from 3 states confirmed what whistleblowers had whispered for years. What's toasted doesn't always mean safe. And when those buns also test positive for ADA, potassium bromate, and Red 40, chemicals banned across the European Union, the UK, and dozens more, you're left asking, is this still food or just legal poison wrapped in wax paper? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal, and this time we're lifting the bun. What we found will turn your stomach. Number 1. Burger King. You know that feeling when you think you're playing it safe? You pull into a Burger King, not looking for a feast, just something hot, quick, and familiar. Maybe it's after dialysis or before the late shift kicks in. Maybe you've only got $5 and 30 minutes to spare. That paper-wrapped Whopper feels like an old friend, flame-grilled, no surprises. You trust that crown on the sign like a handshake from someone who's been around the block. But what if that old friend has been keeping a dangerous little secret? And what if that secret is something banned in 6 major countries, but still landing on American trays? In a sweeping 2025 report from the Clean Food Justice Alliance, Burger King was flagged for using potassium bromate in its sandwich buns. This isn't some made-up boogeyman. It's a chemical dough strengthening that's been banned in the European Union, the United Kingdom, Brazil, India, South Korea, and Canada because of one simple thing: cancer risk. The International Agency for Research on Cancer slapped it with a Group 2B label, meaning it's possibly carcinogenic to humans. Animal tests linked it to tumors. Still think it belongs in a bun? Now you'd think a chemical with that kind of resume would be gone for good, but the FDA didn't ban it. They merely suggested that bakeries stop using it. Suggested? That's like telling a toddler to maybe stop drawing on the walls. Guess what happened? In 2025 alone, over 45,000 pounds of potassium bromate-laced buns were shipped to Burger King franchises across the Midwest. And guess how clearly that chemical is labeled? It's not. But hold on to your tray because it gets worse. In Jacksonville, Florida, a whistleblower's sanitation complaint revealed a franchise where bread trays were sweating in busted coolers, creating the perfect storm for mold. The Florida Department of Agriculture confirmed a sanitation warning was issued. And online, former employees confessed that old buns were often steamed and reused on late-night shifts when no one was looking. So what exactly are we being served? Now imagine this. You've got a weak immune system, maybe you're fighting diabetes or kidney trouble. That moldy bread isn't just gross, it's dangerous. That chemical bun isn't just legal, it's a loaded dice roll. And the people eating it most aren't the ones flying private. They're the ones with no time, no energy, and no backup plan. Still, all is not lost. If you're after a burger without the science lab in the dough, In-N-Out bakes preservative-free buns daily, no potassium bromate, no tricks. Whole Foods 365 line sells clean buns, and even Aldi's Simply Nature brand stays under $3 a pack without touching banned ingredients. And for those who find therapy in the kitchen, King Arthur sells bromate-free flour, and 5 ingredients can give you soft, safe buns in 2 hours flat. But before we shake a fist at Burger King, maybe we need to ask a tougher question. Is this about bad decisions or broken incentives? Maybe they're not out to hurt anyone. Maybe they're just caught in a race where cost wins over care, and shelf life outruns ethics. When corporations are rewarded for cutting corners, even the kings fall in line. So where does that leave us? In a country where bread, basic, humble bread, can carry secrets banned across oceans, what else have we quietly accepted? What corners have we stopped seeing? And if this is what they do to something as simple as a bun, what's happening to everything else we're too tired to check? Number 2. Wendy's. You walk into Wendy's thinking you've made the smarter choice. It's the fast food joint that promises fresh, never frozen. Square burgers, real potatoes, A smiling redhead who looks more like someone's granddaughter than a corporate mascot. It feels safer, doesn't it? The kind of place you'd take your grandkids to after Sunday church, or swing by after a doctor's appointment because you're too tired to cook. The name Wendy's conjures up something softer, cleaner, even a little nostalgic. But in 2025, that soft image has started to rot from the inside out. That rot starts with azotocarbonamide, ADA, the infamous yoga mat chemical that America just can't seem to quit. In March of this year, HealthGuard USA found that Wendy's is still sourcing sandwich buns made with ADA, a dough conditioner banned across Europe and Australia due to links with respiratory irritation and cancer in animal studies. It helps the dough rise faster and stay fluffier, but when it hits high oven temperatures, AD breaks down into urethane, a probable human carcinogen, according to the World Health Organization. So much for fresh. Wendy's isn't just using it quietly. They're actively pushing new bun styles, pretzel, brioche, croissant, all buttery and glossy, all with that same hidden risk. According to Bread Lab Watchdog, Wendy's Ohio-based bakery supplier turned out over 62 million buns in just one quarter, many laced not only with ADA but also TBHQ and propylparaben. All three are banned in the European Union. Why? Because they're linked to hormone disruption, immune system suppression, and long-term cancer risk. In other words, not something you want with your value meal. Then comes the mold. In April, a leaked inspection log from a Wendy's in Amarillo, Texas, showed refrigerators running hot, 5 to 8 degrees over legal limits, for days. Employees later told FoodWatch they were told to just scrape off the mold and toast the bread longer. It's the kind of instruction you'd expect from a gas station, not a billion-dollar brand. And even if the corporate office denies it, the seed of doubt is already planted in our minds and it's growing. This isn't a fluke. It's a system, one where the US still allows chemicals the rest of the world has ditched, where buns can look picture perfect on the outside but carry risks you'll never see on a receipt. And the folks most affected? They're not influencers or CEOs. They're older Americans with diabetes, veterans with kidney issues, kids with sensitive guts. What happens when they eat these chemicals 4 times a week thinking they're making a better choice? Wendy's points to FDA guidelines like a kid blaming the rules. But the real question is, why are our rules so far behind the rest of the world? If you're looking for better bread, you've got choices. Panera Bread bans over 100 chemicals in its baking, including ADA and TBHQ. Sprouts carries clean buns under $4. Oro Wheat Organic skips artificial stabilizers entirely. And if you've got a few hours, homemade bread made with just flour, water, yeast, and salt beats anything cooked in a factory oven. Still, let's not paint Wendy's as the villain with horns. Maybe they're not trying to trick anyone. Maybe they're stuck, trapped in a market that values shelf life over shelf truth, where fresh doesn't mean what it used to, where faster, cheaper, shinier wins every time. But what happens when we stop asking questions? What kind of food culture are we handing down, not just to our children, but our grandchildren? Are we teaching them to accept shortcuts dressed up as quality? Or can we start pushing back, one bun at a time? Number 3, McDonald's. You see those golden arches and you exhale. It's familiar, it's safe, or at least it used to be. McDonald's has stood like a monument to American life for decades. A coffee for under $2, a playground to keep the grandkids laughing, and burgers that fed generations through layoffs, school nights, and late-night road trips. It's not just fast food, it's a piece of the American landscape. But in 2025, those arches don't just symbolize comfort anymore. They cast a long, unsettling shadow over something that should terrify every parent and grandparent in this country. Dangerous additives baked into buns and handed to children like toys in a Happy Meal. There's no viral video of moldy buns from behind a McDonald's counter, but the real danger doesn't always come with cameras and clickbait. In May of this year, the U.S. Food Integrity Network released independent lab tests showing that McDonald's continues to use azotocarbonamide, ADA, in the dough conditioners of its sandwich buns. That's the same chemical once used in making yoga mats more flexible. And it's not just floating around in obscure chains, it's being consumed daily by toddlers, seniors, and folks already fighting chronic illness all across America. Let's not sugarcoat this. ADA has been banned in the European Union, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Singapore. The World Health Organization flags it as a respiratory irritant and possible carcinogen. When exposed to baking temperatures, it breaks down into compounds like urea and semicarbazide, testosterone, bixamothri waters, both linked to tumors and DNA damage in animal studies. And yet here in the US, relatively tough to eat, it's still allowed. Why? Because the FDA hasn't banned it, only recommended lower use. That's not safety, that's gambling with lives using outdated science and voluntary policies. But ADA isn't the only villain in this burger story. That same 2025 report found traces of propylparaben and TBHQ in sesame buns sold at McDonald's outlets in Illinois, Texas, and Florida. These aren't harmless preservatives. Propylparaben is tied to hormonal imbalances and fertility problems. TBHQ, a synthetic antioxidant, has been linked to neurological issues, suppressed immune function, and even increased food allergies in children. Now here's the part that should stop us all cold. A child eating 2 Happy Meals a week may be consuming more ADA than what European food safety authorities would even remotely allow. The exact same food, same bun, same patty, would be outright banned in 27 countries. And why is that? Is it because our kids are stronger? It's because in America, the food system has different rules for different wallets, and low-income communities, they're treated as disposable. It's a system that would never fly in Paris or Berlin, but here, it's just Tuesday. So where does that leave us? Fortunately, alternatives exist. Shake Shack uses no ADA or banned dough conditioners, opting instead for EU-compliant potato rolls. Dave's Killer Bread now offers clean label burger buns with no additives or parabens. And if you're up for a little home baking, Central Milling and King Arthur sell ADA-free flour you can trust. But before we pat ourselves on the back for switching buns, let's ask the real question. How did we get here? Why are the richest food corporations on Earth still using ingredients banned for health risks in other nations, and doing it mostly where people can't afford to notice? This is bigger than McDonald's. This is about a food culture that traded ethics for efficiency and honesty for silence. A system where your child's health is just another spreadsheet line, so maybe the next time you see that golden M, the question isn't, do you want fries with that? But when did we stop deserving better? Number 4. Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box has always worn its weirdness like a badge of honor. Burgers, tacos, teriyaki bowls, all on the same menu, served up by a smirking cartoon clown. For the night crew clocking out at 2 a.m., for retirees on a cross-country road trip, or for single parents too tired to cook, that glowing red sign promised something warm, fast, and just a little offbeat. But beneath the late-night comfort lies something far more unsettling, a ticking time bomb disguised as a bun. In 2025, consumer watchdog Food Clean US released a comprehensive report on banned additives still present in American fast food. Jack in the Box didn't just make the list, it practically headlined it. Their sandwich buns were repeatedly found to contain potassium bromate, a chemical dough conditioner banned across the European Union, the United Kingdom, Brazil, Canada, and India. Why? Because rodent studies have linked it to kidney and thyroid tumors, stomach inflammation, and potential cancer risks. The World Health Organization classifies potassium bromate as a group 2B carcinogen, meaning it's possibly cancer-causing in humans. In California, the law is even clearer. Any food with bromate must carry a cancer warning label. And yet Jack in the Box buns, especially the sourdough variety and standard burger rolls, still contain it. Testing at locations in Nevada, Arizona, and Texas confirmed the chemical was present not just occasionally, but consistently. Even worse, according to the 2025 Ingredient Frequency Index, Jack in the Box ranked number 1 for bromate concentration per bun, 30% higher than Burger King and Wendy's. But the story doesn't stop with chemicals. In February, 2 employees from a Fresno, California location filed a federal complaint claiming that bread trays were stored next to harsh cleaning agents in an open-air receiving zone. The buns, they alleged, were exposed to moisture, heat, and chemical fumes before they ever reached a sandwich wrapper. While Jack in the Box denied the accusations, OSHA opened a sanitation investigation, and in case that wasn't disturbing enough, a separate watchdog, Fast Food Foodborne Illness Alert, flagged 6 Jack in the Box locations in early 2025 for sanitation violations involving bread storage. One health inspector's report out of San Diego even stated, minor green spotting observed on buns stored near open trash bins. Staff instructed to toast and serve. This isn't just careless. This is dangerous, especially for people already walking a tightrope with their health. Seniors with weakened immunity, cancer patients in recovery, parents juggling 3 jobs and EBT cards, these are the folks most likely to rely on affordable meals like these. And potassium bromate? It doesn't show up on the menu board, neither does mold. If that feels like betrayal, you're not alone. Luckily, better options exist. Culver's, for instance, steers clear of potassium bromate and ADA entirely, using regional bakeries with cleaner standards. Angelic Bakehouse offers whole grain buns free of all the usual suspects. No bromates, no parabens, no tricks. Or take back control in your own kitchen. With a bag of red mill flour and a free afternoon, you can make preservative-free buns that taste better and freeze beautifully. Still, we're left asking the question no one in power seems to want to answer. Why is this still allowed? Why in 2025 is a chemical banned in 5 major economies still acceptable on American plates? This isn't just a fast food failure, it's a moral one, a system that quietly tells the most vulnerable among us, you're not worth the effort it takes to change. And if that's the standard we accept for something as basic as bread, what message are we sending about everything else? When will the line between convenience and cruelty finally be crossed? Maybe it already has. Number 5, Arby's. You walk into Arby's expecting something a little more grown up. No toy mascots, no gimmicky jingles, just meat piled high and buns that look like they came from a bakery, not a freezer truck. For folks who've long aged out of Happy Meals, Arby's offered a kind of middle ground. Not quite a diner, not quite drive-through junk. It looked like respect on a tray. But in 2025, that respectable sandwich might be hiding something far more toxic than a few extra calories. Because under those ciabatta rolls and onion buns lies a chemical threat that quietly chips away at the very people Arby's claims to serve. In April of this year, the American Clean Food Network dropped a bombshell report. It revealed that Arby's buns contain sodium aluminum phosphate, Dorsi or Boisdorf phosphorate, a dough stabilizer banned in the European Union since 2008. Why banned? Well, it's because it's an aluminum-based additive tied to cognitive decline, neurological toxicity, and memory loss resembling early Alzheimer's symptoms. European regulators sounded the alarm again in 2024, stating that no safe long-term daily limit could be set for aluminum in food. But here in the US, it's still perfectly legal, and in Arby's buns, it's not just present, it's potent. Independent lab tests from Ingredient Truth Alliance found aluminum additive. Levels exceeding 18 milligrams per serving in select Arby's locations throughout the Midwest. That's more than most safety thresholds for children or seniors. The worst offenders? Toasted onion rolls and hoagie buns. The very breads hugging their brisket and roast beef. So if you thought you were making a wiser fast food choice, the numbers might tell a different story. And aluminum isn't the only red flag. Some specialty buns were also found to contain carrageenan, a thickener extracted from seaweed. Sounds harmless? Not quite. Carrageenan has been banned in infant formula by the EU since 2007, and multiple studies have linked it to gut inflammation, ulcerative colitis, and tumor formation in animal models. Cornell's Digestive Health Report from February 2025 even called for its immediate removal from any product aimed at seniors or those with sensitive digestion. Meanwhile, behind the counter, things don't get much cleaner. In March, a Missouri Arby's was cited by local health authorities for storing bread next to janitorial chemicals during a supply overflow. A whistleblower later claimed this wasn't a one-time thing. Franchise staff, struggling with limited cold storage, allegedly left buns stacked in warm utility rooms for hours with little oversight. It's not just about bad ingredients, it's about bad habits, too. This cuts deeper than brand disappointment, because Arby's isn't selling kids meals. Their customer base often includes older adults managing memory issues, digestive disorders, or simply trying to age with dignity. For someone trying to protect their brain, liver, or gut, a roast beef sandwich shouldn't come with a side of neurotoxins. If you're hungry for better options, Firehouse Subs bakes bread in-house and avoids aluminum-based additives altogether. Simple Truth organic buns found at Kroger are clean label and free of aluminum, ADA, carrageenan, and TBHQ. Or bake your own. King Arthur's whole wheat bun recipe takes just a few pantry staples, and the result freezes well for busy days. Still, what's most haunting isn't the presence of one toxic ingredient. It's how silently it got there. When did a roast beef sandwich become a gamble with brain health? Who decided that fluffier texture was worth the risk of memory loss? This isn't just about Arby's, it's a national food system that quietly feeds danger to those least equipped to fight back. And the longer we stay silent, the more that silence becomes complicity. So before you unwrap that next sandwich, ask yourself, do we really know what we're biting into, or have we just learned to stop asking? Number 6. Subway. Subway was never flashy. No drive-thru clown, no deep-fried gimmicks. Just sandwiches, stacked with vegetables sold under the promise of eat fresh. For decades, it wore that halo proudly. Seniors looking to eat lighter, diabetics watching their numbers, veterans on a budget trying to skip the grease. A toasted turkey footlong felt like a good decision. But in 2025, a closer look beneath that golden crust reveals something far from fresh and far more dangerous. In March, the U.S. Food Additive Transparency Consortium conducted lab tests on Subway's most popular breads. What they found was damning. Both the Italian white bread and honey oat bread tested positive for azotocarbonamide, ADA, the same chemical once exposed in Subway's early 2010s scandal. AD is used to bleach flour and help dough rise faster, but when heated it breaks down into urea, a compound linked to DNA disruption, lung inflammation, and possible tumor growth. The European Union, the United Kingdom, and Australia banned it years ago. Subway, under pressure, removed it from some recipes back then, but now it's quietly crept back in. Likely not by accident, but by cost-cutting from third-party bakers. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, it does. The 9-grain wheat bread, long marketed as the healthy, whole-grain choice, was found to contain propylparaben, a preservative outlawed in the European Union, China, and Denmark. Why banned? Because it's linked to hormone disruption, breast tissue abnormalities, and infertility. The Endocrine Society's 2025 public alert directly tied long-term exposure to reduced sperm counts and early puberty in lab animals. Not exactly what you want baked into a sandwich for your grandchildren. Subway's defense? All ingredients comply with FDA regulations. But in an era where the FDA still greenlights chemicals banned across Europe and Asia, that's not reassurance, it's a red flag. Especially when you consider how often older Americans eat Subway, sometimes 5 times a week, believing they're making the safe choice. That's not eat fresh, that's eat fast, eat cheap, and hope you don't pay the price later. And price you may. A whistleblower from an Albuquerque, New Mexico franchise posted in January about bread trays being stored overnight near dishwashing stations, damp, unrefrigerated, and uncovered. Photos leaked to Food Watch backed it up. Soggy bins glistening with condensation, bread sitting exposed. Mold doesn't need much to grow, and in those conditions, it doesn't wait for a second invitation. But let's not lose hope. If you're looking to escape this chemical trap, Jason's Deli publicly commits to ADA-free, bromate-free breads and shares its ingredient list online. Rudy's Organic Bakery, found at many supermarkets, makes hoagie rolls and sandwich buns free of parabens, 80, and artificial preservatives. Or take your bread back into your own hands. 6 fresh buns from Red Mill Organic Whole Wheat Flour, 5 ingredients, 2 hours. You don't need a PhD, just a mixing bowl. What hurts the most is the betrayal of trust. Subway told us we were doing better, that this was the clean, safe route. But now, that promise feels hollow, especially when the very bread they sell wouldn't be allowed in most school cafeterias overseas. So what are we teaching ourselves and our children when we accept this? That a cleaner label matters less than a longer shelf life? That it's okay to sacrifice hormone health cell by cell for 30 cents of corporate margin? And most heartbreaking of all, if we're willing to feed this to our parents, what message does that send to the generation watching us? Number 7. Checkers, Rallies. Checkers and Rallies are the go-to drive-thrus for countless low-income neighborhoods, quick, cheap, and indulgent. But in 2025, their buns turned into silent threats, hiding beneath the sesame seeds. An April report by the American Additive Watchdog Project flagged their burger buns as some of the most dangerous in the country. Why? Because they contained a triple threat. Azotocarbonamide, ADA, TBHQ, and Red 40, all banned in multiple nations for good reason. ADA, banned in the EU and Australia, breaks down into chemicals that damage DNA and trigger respiratory inflammation. TBHQ, a synthetic preservative banned in Japan, is now linked to neurological effects and weakened immune response, especially in children. Red 40, the bright dye that makes buns look buttery under fluorescent lights, is banned in France, Norway, and Germany due to its ties to hyperactivity and allergic reactions. But it's not just what's in the bun, it's how they're handled. A leaked Mississippi inspection found frozen buns thawed in plastic tubs for over 5 hours at unsafe temperatures. Mold wasn't visible, but microbiologists warn moisture and sugar are all mold spores need to spread unseen. These aren't distant risks. They affect real families, grandparents with fragile lungs, children in food deserts, and workers grabbing dinner between shifts. When a 59-cent bun contains 3 banned additives and no warnings, that's not fast food, it's slow harm. And if this is what they're feeding us now, what will our kids think is normal tomorrow? Subscribe now, because knowing what's in your food isn't paranoia, it's protection. Your voice, your health, your family start here.
Thanks a lot for sticking with us to the very end. If you found this video useful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you won't miss any daily uploads. And now go ahead and explore some of our top recommended videos popping up on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.